I've often wondered, what if all of us in the world discovered that we were threatened by a power from outer space, from another planet? Wouldn't we all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences between us at all?
After a 1 year's investigation, I believe that the flying saucers seen by veteran airline and Air Force pilots are objects from another planet. The Air Force itself has officially admitted that flying saucers exist. Not only that, the Air Force has officially analyzed the motives of possible visitors from space. Here is a direct quotation from the official report. Such a civilization might observe that on Earth we now have atomic bombs and are fast developing rockets. In the past history of mankind, they should be alarmed. We should therefore expect at this time above all to behold such visitation.
Gentlemen, the next war will not be an international war, but an intergalactic war.
Many of our leaders, whom are also Freemasons, know we are at war with an extraterrestrial race. Now, many of you may not believe in flying saucers, but I have to. My father chased them for the government. What I'm about to show you is perhaps even more unbelievable. Did you know, for instance, that we have a United States Space Force? NASA footage clearly shows war efforts against extraterrestrials. As a matter of fact, most of our astronauts have encountered unusual events.
This is Apollo Control. Still no explanation. The weird noises emanating from Apollo 11, if indeed it is from Apollo 11. Perhaps we'll all shake out later in the mission as to what these strange noises are.
On July 27, 1952, a number of flying saucers were picked up on radar, flying over our nation's capital. A mere 3 weeks later, America established what was known as the National Security Agency, sometimes known as No Such Agency. It's the world's largest intelligence gathering community. They are credited with creating the internet and electromagnetic tape.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
And in 1947, a flying saucer crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. 3 months later, America established the Central Intelligence Agency. Known for its use of mind-altering technologies, under MK-Ultra, the CIA conducted memory experiments on thousands of unknowing people. They used LSD and other drugs, brainwashing, hypnosis, and many other mind control techniques. The CIA was established in a building known as the Tomb at Yale University. tomb is also the temple of the Skull and Bones Society. Our president, who is also a member of the Skull and Bones, left on June of 2002 to announce to the world that we will have a missile defensive shield, whether you like it or not. He was greeted at the airports as a Nazi. And a killer. And yes, even as Satan himself. But the deal was done. America officially backed out of the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty and now has what can only be termed a force field over the country. But so do the Soviets, the Chinese, and a number of other countries as well. It was decided the control of the missile defensive shield would go to Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado Springs. This is where NORAD and Space Command are also stationed. So what is a missile defensive shield? HAARP has been presented to the public as a program of scientific and academic research. U.S. documents, however, seem to suggest HAARP's main objective is to exploit the ionosphere for the Department of Defense. HAARP stands for the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It is based in Gakona, Alaska. It is jointly managed by the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Navy. It is part of a new generation of sophisticated weaponry under the U.S. Strategic Defense Initiative, otherwise known as Star Wars. Operated by the Air Force Research Laboratory's Space Vehicles Directorate, HAARP constitutes a system of powerful antennas capable of creating controlled local modifications of the ionosphere, which can disrupt human mental processes, jam all global communications, change weather patterns over large areas, interfere with wildlife migration patterns, negatively affect your health, and unnaturally impact the Earth's upper atmosphere. Gene Manning and Dr. Nick Begich brought HAARP to the attention of the world with the book called Angels Don't Play This HAARP. Dr. Nick Begich learned that HAARP can manipulate global weather, hurt ecosystems, knock out electronic communications, and change moods and even mental states. He describes HAARP as a super powerful radio wave beaming technology that lifts areas of the ionosphere by focusing a beam and heating those areas. Electromagnetic waves then bounce back onto Earth and penetrate everything, living and dead. According to Dr. Bernard Eastland's patent, HAARP can cause total disruption of communications over a very large portion of the Earth, disrupting not only land-based communications, but also airborne communications, and sea communications as well. Can missile or aircraft destruction, deflection, or confusion, and weather modification. Put simply, the apparatus is a reversal of a radio telescope, just transmitting instead of receiving. It will boil the upper atmosphere. Captain Tyler, director of the United States Navy Electromagnetic Radiation Project, states that effects which could be stimulated chemically could also be stimulated electrically. With the right electromagnetic field, for example, you might be able to produce the same effects as psychoactive drugs. Countless suns in other galaxies spray cosmic rays in all directions continuously. Closer to home, our sun radiates gamma rays, X-rays, and shorter wavelengths of ultraviolet light. When they hit the outer layers of the Earth's atmosphere, these cosmic rays are absorbed by atoms, but in the process, electrons are knocked off. Thus, there is a constant flux of electrons at this altitude. The atoms are changed to positively charged ions. This process gave the ionosphere its name. Blown towards Earth on the solar wind, electrically charged particles follow Earth's magnetic field lines. Along such paths of least resistance, high-energy particles funnel towards the magnetic poles of the Earth, squeeze into a poleward current called the electrojet, and are dumped towards the Earth. Sometimes the electrojet dwindles, but other times a solar flare floods the system with high-energy particles, and the sky lights up into the dancing, shifting curtains of the auroral display. On Friday the 13th, May 2005, we had the largest solar flare on record. When these flares actually strike the Earth, superstorms are formed. HAARP is the largest ionospheric heater in the world. The ground-based equipment will beam focused energy up to the ionosphere, where the beamed radio frequency waves would interact powerfully with charged particles that are always trapped there. Essentially, HAARP is a ground-based solar flare. In December 1915, the New York Times reported that the inventor, Nikola Tesla, had filed patent applications on the essential parts of a machine, possibilities of which test a layman's imagination and promise a parallel of Thor shooting thunderbolts from the sky to punish those who had angered the gods. Suffice it to say that the invention will go through space with a speed of 300 miles per second, a manless ship without propelling engine or wings, sent by electricity to any desired point on the globe on its errand of destruction, if destruction its manipulator wishes to effect. It is not a time, said Dr. Tesla, to go into the details of this thing. It is founded upon a principle that means great things in peace. It can be used for great things in war. But I repeat, this is no time to talk of such things. Nikola Tesla told the writer that he stands ready to divulge to the United States government the secret of his teleforce, with which he said airplane motors would be melted at a distance of 250 miles away. And who remembers when the Soviets launched a giant mirror into space? It was to have the luminescence of 10 moons and was said to be used to heat the polar regions for agriculture. The mirror seemed to fail, however, and they say it burnt up in the atmosphere. HAARP has the ability to generate such a mirror effect by causing a plasma cloud in the ionosphere that can direct solar radiation to desired targets. I received a report that HAARP was tested as a meteor deflection shield. It seems a meteor was directed straight towards the facility. Could we have the ability to hurl meteors at our own planet with such precision? I looked deeper and found that the Anchorage Daily News reported such an event. A meteor struck the ionosphere, the clouds dispersed at 1,000 miles per hour, and then a sonic boom. Many of the people in Anchorage thought it was the end of the world and sought refuge in their basements. And 3 hours later, an earthquake struck. The USA Today reported that Milosevic accused the U.S. of using HAARP in the Gulf War to cause his floods and earthquakes. HAARP's extremely low frequency waves penetrate everything and so are useful for submarine communications. Some believe, however, that this is causing the whales to beach themselves. HAARP's transmitter can penetrate land as well. Known as tomography, HAARP can peer into the Earth to find subterranean complexes, such as the one found under the Giza Plateau. Fox reported that deep down under the Great Pyramid, a subterranean complex was found. It was excavated by Zahi Hawass, the secretary of the Giza Plateau. What he found is also unbelievable.
This is the tomb of Osiris,
the god of the underworld.
They later changed the name to the Osiris Shaft. Our leaders are phallus worshippers, after all.
but to be fair, I did not excavate this tunnel yet. Then really I don't know where it leads us. But I always say that you never know what the sand and the tunnels of Egypt may hide of secrets.
Many believe that the Greys are actually subterranean beings, having existed on this planet for tens of thousands of years. History reports them as a worker race brought by the gods to do mining work. They were known as the Anunnaki. Reports have come from Dulce, New Mexico, of a war between these subterranean beings and our military. Eric von Daniken also reported discovering tunnels that covered thousands of miles under Central America. They have smooth walls and seem to be constructed with high technology, perhaps a laser drill. These are the very tunnels that the Incans hid their gold after discovering Cortez was not their god. Now consider this. When the Spaniards arrived on the beach, the Incans considered them to be their gods because they expected their gods to be men with facial hair and high technology. The Incans knew their job on this planet was to mine gold for the gods. This made the Spaniards very rich. Some ideas about HAARP are not generated from this planet at all. Channeled information from the Pleiades, and direct contact from the Pleiadians themselves tell us that we live in a very special time. They came to tell us that we are at the beginning of a new great year. This is based on the 26,000-year cycle of the precession of the equinox, what we call the astrological cycle. We are now entering what could be termed the Great Day. For 13,000 years we have been asleep in the great night. Now as our solar system turns to face the photon belt radiating from the galactic core, we are coming awake in the age of man, the age of Aquarius, and we will ascend to new dimensions. Now, the Syrians, whom our leaders seem to follow, tell us a different version of this episode. They say there is no way we will survive this radiation. They tell us that we should build frequency modulators around the globe, a force field, to transport our planet to their solar system. HAARP and its counterparts are just such a system. Can you imagine waking up to two suns? Isaac Bonowitz put occultism under the interdisciplinary microscope in his book Real Magic, dissecting and examining magic in a scientific but flexible way, and reporting it in plain language. This earned him the first degree of Bachelor of Arts with a major in magic from Berkeley, signed by Ronald Reagan, who was governor of California at that time. In the book's section on parapsychology, he explores the scientific principles of human psi powers And on page 69, he states that once we can get over the minor details of building an artificial antenna transmitter, 10 kilometers across, and figure out a translation method, we will be able to build a machine that will be able to read minds and send out thoughts of its own. Once we get to that point, I'm heading for a neutral country or else the UN. I emailed Isaac with a link to the HAARP site, asked him when he was leaving. Further studies done by the military found that we are all psychic. They created a corporation known as SciTech. It's headed by Major Ed Dames. SciTech does what is called technical remote viewing. It is a scientifically repeatable problem-solving process done by a person to gain information about a specific target, anywhere in time, past, present, or future. And yet another great inventor was Patrick Flanagan, who at 14 years old created the neurophone. It is a device that transmits acoustic information directly into the brain by means of electromagnetic field. It has many applications as an enhanced learning machine or as a computer-to-brain interface. Patrick Flanagan states that he is acutely aware of the potential misuse of HAARP technology for the implementation of electronic global mind control. So you see, that once we all have our chip in place, with the use of technology like the neurophone that can transmit sounds to your brain, and holographic technology that can present things that are not there, coupled with a high-powered radio frequency modulators, our leaders can absolutely play God. An emanation of God could step from the clouds, cast a lightning bolt and tornado in your direction, while the booming voice of God commands you to kneel down before your Lord. So if you see these lying signs and wonders, know at least this: we live in amazing times, with amazing possibilities, good and bad. It is up to you to awaken to these possibilities and to use your time here under the sun for the benefit of all. The path we are currently taking leads only to disaster. We must free our minds from this third-dimensional illusion. Thank you for watching The Freeman Perspective.
Dream of a child.